Hello again, I'm Michael Duncan. I'd like to start my speech off with a story. So, in the ending part of last semester, before I came home, my father called me. He was like, Michael, you wouldn't believe it. I got this new hobby. So I was like, what now, Dad? He said, I'm a gardener. Got this garden up back. I digged up the old trees, digged up the old plants, put down some new soil, fertilized it, planted my appropriate seeds, watered. Now I'm just waiting for my results. Alright, Dad, go ahead. So a week before he came, going back, he was like, Michael, you wouldn't believe what's in my garden. I'm like, what? He said, got some weed. Okay, Dad, that's your problem. You got some invasive species. That's what we're talking about today. Basically, what invasive species are any organism that can come in. And they're not indigenous in the area, but they can outcompete the native species of that area. They alter the geographical makeup. They change the trophic structure. They distort and establish ecosystem, basically what they do. Some characteristics of these species are they have high rate of dispersal, which means they can spread from one area to the next in a short period of time. They have a short gestation period, which means they can breed rapidly because from conception to delivery of the offspring is a pretty short time. They have a diverse diet. There's a lot of indigenous species in the area, pretty much specialists. They have to eat a specific food to maintain themselves. But invasive species tend to have a more general diet, so they can consume just about anything, and the resources don't have to be high for them to continue to strive in the area. They're long-lived, which means they have more than enough time to reproduce, more than enough time to find appropriate resources, more than enough time to establish themselves. They're pretty tolerant to abiotic factors like drought or tornadoes or hurricanes. All these factors that would typically wipe out more specialist type species, which are usually indigenous to particular areas. They're not as tolerant, but the invasive species, they are pretty tolerant to all of these things. There are a lot of concerns that surround invasive species as far as economic concerns. They compromise wild stock, they contaminate seeds, and the cost of machinery goes up for farmers and people who have gardens or whatever you're doing in the field. The cost of machinery goes up because you have to incorporate extra time, extra money, and effort to wipe out invasive species. As far as being vectors are concerned, because they're not indigenous in the area, they tend to bring in disease while they bring in everything else to an area, and the species is not from the area, and they can in turn bring in a disease, then the species they bring the disease to is not familiar with the disease, so it's pretty hard to get rid of it. It's simple natural selection. As far as the ecological concerns, they low biodiversity, and they little sustainability. Like they can't sustain a whole ecosystem just being a couple of generalists, but they can wipe out what used to be a sustained ecosystem. In conclusion, what we can do to kind of mitigate the problem with invasive species is probably form geographical barriers. What that means is like it's impossible for some invasive species to cross, like say a river or a lake or a pond. How would you go? That would be a geographical barrier. Anything else is fair game. That's why you see like in customs or you're traveling to a different country, you try to make sure that you don't bring any species or anything that's indigenous to that particular country, that particular area across borders. That's called a geographical area. We can do things to enforce that and make sure that stays strong and ideal concept. What else we can do is continue to educate the people, the society, and continue to force the government to fund these drives against endangered species, but invasive species. That's all. Thank you.